In 1986, a dive instructor named Kihachiro Aratake discovered something 25 meters beneath the ocean off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan. Massive stone formations, terraces, steps, platforms, right angles, straight edges, structures that looked carved, intentional, man-made. He brought other divers, then archaeologists, then geologists. What they found sparked a debate that continues today. Is Yonaguni a natural formation or the remains of a lost civilization? Scientists can't agree. The evidence supports both conclusions, and neither fully explains what lies beneath the waves. The main structure is enormous, 150 meters long, 40 meters wide, rising 27 meters from the seafloor. It features terraces that resemble steps. Each terrace perfectly level, each step uniform in height, approximately 50 centimeters, the kind of regularity you don't expect from nature. Edges meet at right angles. Corners are sharp, surfaces are flat. One section looks like a carved face, eyes, mouth, geometric patterns. Another area resembles a stadium, tiered seating, a central platform, channels that could be drainage systems or pathways. The more you examine it, the more intentional it appears. Masaaki Kimura spent 15 years studying the site, a marine geologist from the University of the Ryukyus. He dove the formation hundreds of times, measured every angle, documented every feature. His conclusion: the structure is man-made, modified by human hands from natural rock. He points to tool marks, carved symbols, post holes that once held wooden structures, steps too regular to form naturally, channels cut into rock at specific angles for drainage. The evidence, he argues, is overwhelming. This was a megalithic complex, built on land, submerged when sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age, around 10,000 years ago. Other geologists disagree. Robert Schoch, a professor at Boston University, examined the site in 1997. His conclusion: natural formation, created by geological processes, tectonic activity, erosion, wave action. The rock at Yonaguni is sedimentary sandstone. It fractures along natural plains, creating flat surfaces, right angles, step-like formations. Schoch argues that everything visible can be explained by geology. No evidence of tool marks, no clear signs of human modification, just nature doing what nature does, fracturing rock in patterns that happen to look architectural. The debate centers on specific features. The main terrace is the most striking, a flat platform approximately 10 meters wide, perfectly level, extending for dozens of meters. Natural erosion can create flat surfaces, but maintaining levelness over that distance is unusual, especially when the surrounding rock is uneven. Kimura argues this was deliberately flattened. Schoch counters that sedimentary layers can create exactly this effect when erosion removes softer material above and below a harder layer. Both explanations are plausible, neither is definitive. Then there are the holes, circular depressions carved into the rock, approximately 90 centimeters wide, 60 centimeters deep, arranged in rows. Kimura identifies these as post holes, places where wooden beams were anchored to support structures, buildings, platforms, roofs. Schoch argues they're solution holes, created when slightly acidic water dissolves rock over time, natural processes that coincidentally appear organized. The pattern could be random. Humans just perceive order because we're pattern-seeking animals. Or the pattern could be intentional, humans placing posts in deliberate arrangement. Both scientists present evidence. Neither convinces the other. The face adds another layer of mystery. One section of the formation features what appears to be a carved human face, or head, eyes, nose, mouth, visible from certain angles, weathered, eroded, but recognizable. Kimura says it's a statue, carved in situ, part of a larger complex. Schoch says it's Pareidolia, the human brain's tendency to see faces in random patterns, clouds, rock formations, toast. The face at Yonaguni is just weathered rock. Erosion created features that happen to resemble facial anatomy. We see what we want to see, especially when looking for evidence of lost civilizations. The timeline matters. Sea levels were 120 meters lower during the last ice age. Coastlines extended far beyond their current positions. Yonaguni's structure sits 25 meters below the surface. That depth corresponds to sea levels around 10,000 years ago. If the structure was built on land, it would have been submerged when glaciers melted. Rapid sea level rise, coastal flooding, entire regions disappearing beneath the waves. Mainstream archaeology acknowledges this. What they dispute is whether humans were building megalithic structures 10,000 years ago. The official narrative says no. Agriculture hadn't developed yet. Cities didn't exist. Monumental architecture came later, much later. But Göbekli Tepe challenged that narrative. Discovered in Turkey, dated to 11,600 years ago. Massive stone temples, carved pillars, built by people without agriculture, without cities, without metal tools. If Göbekli Tepe is possible, why not Yonaguni? If hunter-gatherers could move 20-ton stones in Turkey, why couldn't they carve terraces in Japan? The evidence from one site should inform interpretation of the other. But archaeology operates in silos. Specialists focus on their regions. Comparative analysis happens slowly, if at all. Other features at Yonaguni complicate the debate. The turtle is a rock formation shaped like a turtle. Shell, head, flippers. Too specific to be coincidence, Kimura argues. Schoch says erosion. The loop road is a channel carved into the rock, following the perimeter of the main structure. Consistent depth, consistent width. Could be natural, could be carved for drainage or ceremonial purposes. The twin pillars are two vertical stone columns, each about 2 meters tall, standing parallel, equidistant. Natural fractures or architectural elements? Every feature has two explanations, natural or artificial, and evidence supporting both. Do you believe nature alone created these formations, or did humans modify them? The answer changes everything we know about human history. If Yonaguni is natural, it's a geological curiosity. Interesting, but not historically significant. If it's man-made, it rewrites timelines. It means advanced construction existed 10,000 years ago or earlier. It means maritime cultures we don't recognize. Megalithic builders we haven't acknowledged. Knowledge systems that disappeared when sea levels rose and coastal civilizations drowned. The site isn't isolated. Other underwater structures exist nearby. Smaller formations, similar features, terraces, steps, right angles, found at various depths, suggesting a complex, multiple structures, connected, a settlement, or city. Kimura mapped over 10 related sites in the region, all showing similar architectural elements, all at depths consistent with Ice Age coastlines. All controversial, all disputed. Mainstream archaeology acknowledges they exist. They just refuse to call them man-made. Japan has legends, oral traditions describing lost lands. Mu, a continent that sank beneath the Pacific, Atlantis of the East. Mythological, scholars say. No evidence, just stories. But myths often contain kernels of truth. Flood narratives exist globally. Most cultures have them, describing times when water covered the land, civilizations drowned, survivors scattered. Yonaguni could be evidence that these stories preserve real memories, that coastal populations existed before the flood, that they built cities now underwater, that they passed down memories through mythology because writing didn't exist yet. The Okinawan region has other mysteries. Ancient stone monuments on land, megaliths, carved figures, architecture that predates known cultures. Similar construction techniques to Yonaguni. Same stone, same methods, suggesting continuity. A building tradition that existed before and after the flooding. The underwater structures might be earlier versions of the surface monuments, or the surface monuments might be attempts to recreate what was lost beneath the waves. Cultural memory expressed in stone. Recent surveys using sonar and photogrammetry revealed more details. 3D mapping of the entire structure, computer analysis of angles, measurements, patterns. Some studies support artificial origin. Others support natural formation. The scientific community remains divided. Conferences held, papers published, both sides presenting data, neither conceding. This level of disagreement is unusual in science. Usually, evidence accumulates until consensus emerges. But Yonaguni resists consensus. The evidence truly is ambiguous, or we're asking the wrong questions. Perhaps the answer is both. Natural formation modified by humans. The rock fractured naturally, created step-like terraces. Then humans found it, recognized its potential, carved post holes, flattened surfaces, added structures, used it as a quarry or ceremonial site. This compromised position satisfies neither side fully, but it acknowledges reality, that humans often modify natural features. Caves become temples. Rock outcrops become fortresses. Why not underwater terraces becoming architectural complexes? Until they sank and we forgot they existed. The problem is evidence. Underwater archaeology is difficult, expensive, dangerous. Visibility is limited. Currents are strong. Time at depth is restricted. You can't excavate like you can on land. You can't preserve artifacts easily. Organic material decays faster underwater. Wood, rope, fabric, all gone. Only stone remains, and stone doesn't prove human activity unless it's clearly modified. Tool marks, inscriptions, unambiguous alterations. Yonaguni lacks these, or erosion removed them. 10,000 years of wave action, sedimentation, biological growth. Any surface markings would be worn away, leaving only the underlying structure, ambiguous, open to interpretation. Kimura found what he believes are tool marks, parallel grooves in the stone, consistent spacing, consistent depth, created by repeated strikes with a cutting tool. Schoch examined the same grooves, concluded they're natural striations, common in sedimentary rock, caused by the deposition process, layers settling unevenly. Both geologists, both qualified, both examining the same evidence, reaching opposite conclusions. This tells us something important. The evidence truly is borderline, right at the threshold between natural and artificial. Close enough that expertise doesn't resolve the question. Only perspective does. The Japanese government hasn't designated Yonaguni a protected archaeological site because the debate isn't settled. If it were clearly man-made, protection would follow. Research funding, excavation permits. But without consensus, it remains in limbo. Dive tourism continues. Anyone with certification can visit, touch the stones, swim through the terraces, take photos. This wouldn't be allowed at a confirmed archaeological site. The lack of protection suggests official skepticism. The government isn't convinced, or they're waiting for more evidence. Evidence that might never come, because the ocean isn't giving up its secrets easily. Other researchers propose alternative explanations. Graham Hancock visited the site, suggested it's part of a global pattern, underwater ruins found worldwide, Mediterranean, Caribbean, Indian Ocean, all at depths corresponding to Ice Age sea levels. All controversial, all disputed. Hancock argues they're remnants of a maritime civilization, advanced, widespread, lost when the Ice Age ended. Mainstream archaeology rejects this, calls it pseudo-archaeology. But the pattern exists. Multiple underwater sites, multiple locations, multiple features that look architectural. Either they're all natural formations, or humanity's coastal history is much older than we acknowledge. The Mediterranean has Pavlopetri, underwater city off Greece, dated to 5,000 years ago. Stone structures, roads, buildings, clearly man-made, fully accepted by archaeology because it's recent enough, within known civilizational timelines. But if Pavlopetri can sink beneath the waves, why not older sites? Why not settlements from 10,000 years ago? The mechanism is the same: rising sea levels, subsidence, erosion. The only difference is age, and the archaeological establishment's willingness to accept that construction capability existed earlier than textbooks claim. India's Dwarka presents similar questions. Underwater structures off the Gujarat coast, stone blocks, walls, foundations. Ancient texts describe Dwarka as a magnificent city that sank beneath the sea. Mythology, scholars said. Then marine archaeologists found it. Artifacts dated to 7,500 BCE, within the mythological timeframe. Now it's accepted. But debates continue about how much was natural harbor formation versus artificial construction. The same debates that surround Yonaguni. Nature or humans? How much of each? And why does it matter so much? It matters because it challenges orthodoxy, the established narrative of human development. Hunter-gatherers, agriculture, villages, cities, civilization, a linear progression, predictable, documented. But what if it wasn't linear? What if coastal populations developed differently? Maritime cultures building on shorelines that no longer exist. Megalithic construction predating agriculture? Knowledge systems we don't recognize because their evidence drowned? Accepting Yonaguni as man-made opens these possibilities. Rejecting it preserves the timeline. This isn't about evidence anymore. It's about frameworks, paradigms, what we're willing to consider possible. The structure will remain underwater. Rising sea levels from climate change might submerge it further, making future research even harder. Or maybe that's better. Maybe some mysteries should stay mysterious. Maybe the ambiguity itself is valuable, reminding us that we don't know everything, that our understanding is incomplete, that the past holds secrets we might never fully recover. Yonaguni sits beneath the waves, silent, unchanged, waiting for divers, for scientists, for someone to finally prove what it is, or accept that we might never know. Should we invest more resources in underwater archaeology? Should we explore every anomaly beneath the ocean? Or should we accept that some questions remain unanswered? The debate over Yonaguni isn't really about stone terraces in Japan. It's about how we approach the unknown. Do we demand absolute proof before accepting new ideas? Or do we allow for possibilities that evidence can't yet confirm? Science requires skepticism, but it also requires openness. Yonaguni tests both, and so far neither side has won. If underwater mysteries and disputed evidence fascinate you, subscribe to Veiled Origin for more investigations archaeology can't resolve. This is Veiled Origin, where consensus ends and questions begin. The scientific method is supposed to resolve debates like this: hypothesis, testing, evidence, conclusion. But Yonaguni breaks that cycle. Every test produces ambiguous results. Every measurement can be interpreted two ways. The method itself can't resolve the question when evidence sits exactly on the boundary. This is uncomfortable for science. We prefer clear answers. Yonaguni offers neither. What we're left with is probability. Is it more likely erosion created perfectly level terraces extending dozens of meters? Or that humans flattened them? Is it more likely solution holes formed in rows by coincidence? Or posts were deliberately placed? Each individual feature might be natural, but all of them together, in one location? The probability shifts, not proof, but suggestive. Kimura's 15 years of research can't be dismissed easily. He's a credentialed geologist who followed evidence. His conclusion that the structure is modified natural rock is measured, not claiming entirely artificial. Just that humans worked on it. This is reasonable. It doesn't require lost civilizations, just coastal people 10,000 years ago modifying their environment, then losing those spaces when the sea rose. Schoch's skepticism is equally valid. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Man-made structures predating known civilizations is extraordinary. The evidence at Yonaguni doesn't quite reach that threshold. Tool marks are ambiguous. Symbols aren't clear. Post holes could be natural. Until unambiguous artifacts are found, pottery, tools, inscriptions, caution is warranted. Better to withhold judgment than accept conclusions prematurely. This is how science protects itself from error, through conservative interpretation, through demanding high standards of proof. But conservative interpretation has costs. It delayed acceptance of Göbekli Tepe's age. It resisted Ice Age art evidence. Sometimes skepticism becomes obstruction. The question is whether Yonaguni deserves more investigation or whether current evidence suffices. Resources are limited. Should we spend money investigating ambiguous formations, or accept we've looked enough? The answer might lie in technology, better sonar, higher resolution imaging, robotic exploration, AI pattern analysis, geochemical analysis detecting tool residue. These technologies exist or are being developed. Applied to Yonaguni, they might resolve the debate or generate more ambiguous data. Technology doesn't always provide clarity. Meanwhile, the structure sits beneath 25 meters of water. Currents flow over it. Fish swim through it. Divers photograph it. Scientists argue. Both sides publishing papers. Both sides convinced they're right. This is rare in geology. Rocks usually tell clear stories. But Yonaguni's rocks tell a story that can be read two ways. That's the real mystery. Not whether it's natural or artificial, but why the evidence is so perfectly ambiguous. Perhaps that's the lesson, that nature sometimes creates things that look intentional, that humans sometimes work on formations in ways that leave minimal trace, that the line between natural and artificial isn't always clear. Yonaguni challenges our categories, forces us to acknowledge some things don't fit neatly into classifications, and maybe that's okay. Maybe certainty is overrated. The Japanese continue to dive the site. Tourism provides local income. The mystery itself has value. People want to see the controversial formation, judge for themselves, form their own conclusions. This democratization of evidence is unusual. Usually archaeology restricts access, but Yonaguni is open. Anyone can visit. Anyone can form opinions. What would it take to settle the debate? A carved inscription? A tool left behind? Pottery shards? Clear evidence of human activity? Or geological analysis proving all features form naturally? Either extreme would resolve the question, but Yonaguni offers neither. It sits in the middle, tantalizing, suggestive, inconclusive, and that's where it will likely remain. The debate continues. Scientists disagree, and the structure waits beneath the waves, silent, ambiguous, defying consensus. If mysteries that science can't resolve intrigue you, subscribe to Veiled Origin. Your support helps explore questions mainstream research avoids. This is Veiled Origin, where certainty ends and investigation begins.